So today I'm going to talk to you about how you could check a student's work to see how honest it is. So here's a few tips for teachers. One of my keys to success in trying to figure out if a student plagiarized a work or if they copy and pasted from the internet or used AI tools, I'm going to use revision history. So if you've never heard of revision history before, it is built into Google Docs, and it is a great feature of Google Docs. So you would go into any document like this essay I wrote right here, and you're going to go to File, Version History, and see Version History. It will open this window, which basically will show you, kind of take you back in time on this particular document. It will show anybody, if it's a shared document, it will show all the players of the document and all the changes made by each person in the document. So if I go back in time here, I could see here, this particular document was created on October 22nd at 4:12 p.m. by Lawrence Lyon. He's really neat. And I could see it started with a blank document. And then if I go to the 4:13, 1 minute later, it'll say, hey, that was my test voice, because I was using Google Voice Typing to write this. And then a few minutes later, I had written this part of it using Google Voice Typing. So that's why it came over all at one time. And then a few minutes later, you could see I added a horizontal line up here, and I added some more at the bottom using voice typing. Then again, any different things or any edits are going to be in blue, because that's the color of that person, Larry Lyon. His is blue, so I can see, oh, I changed some stuff here, added some punctuation, corrected capitalization, and then I can see Larry Lyon shared it with Sally Garza, also me, and I added a title to this, and notice it's a different color, so I could go back in time and see that. And this was the final version that I wrote, that Sally Garza had added to this, as of this time on October 22nd. And you can see on today, the user Sally Garza made a few changes, like she changed the name of one of the characters, and the current version of the document looks like this with a few corrections. Now, I've seen this happen with students all over time. So just a few things to know about this. So you could go back for any writing assignment and see kind of the progress and the evolution of that writing assignment. This is really important. You could go back actually and see rough draft before they started editing it and revising and made it better. You could, if it was a shared document, you could see who made what change. And this is a pretty simplistic document. I've had some Google Slides, because you could also do this in Google Slides. You could actually see every change on every slide by every person in a shared slide. They've been really complicated over the years. So, and then you could also name different versions or restore an old version of a document, a version history as well. So let's say it was a shared document and one user deleted everything, and you could go back in time and restore an old version of that. You could also, while you're working on it, have students say, hey, name this version of it right now and call it the rough draft. And all I have to do for that is call it rough draft and say save. And that could be the rough draft. And then they could continue editing this version and making more changes. So let's say I'm going to change the name Rebecca to Morgana. And I can say replace all those. And then change that name all over my document. Now, if I go back to my version history, you could see as of today, notice the rough draft. That was how it looked as of the rough draft date. But then when I come here, I could see that all the changes have been made by Sally to this to change the person's name to Morgana. So you could do that, save different versions of the rough draft or versions of this document. So I could come here and name this version the final draft. And when I go into my version history now, you can see I have rough draft and final draft. So you could do that very easily, and again, see what a student has done. Just remember to expand these little arrows if you see them, because that means there were multiple changes on that day. If I'm looking at a different type of document, for this one, Larry Lyon actually copy and pasted most of it from ChatGPT. So I'm going to show you what that looks like when you're looking at revision history. So if I go to my version history here, I could see it was created on this day, and I had to copy it and pasted the other document over first, and then deleted a bunch of stuff and renamed stuff. And I can say I put a little note here saying this was the copy and paste from ChatGPT. So what I'm looking at specifically is how much text was added in what amount of time. So this was 2 pages of text that was added in a 3 or 4 minute period. So that to me is like ding, 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 red flag on this. So that would be like a number one question I would have about this, hey, and then you could see I've gone through and made some small changes to rewords, maybe some formatting stuff, changing some things here and there on everything. So that's typically what we see when students use AI tools or copy and paste from the internet into a Google Doc. A lot of text will come over in a short amount of time, and then students will go and or change some of the wording or more specific words on stuff. And again, you will see who changed what. So Sally Garza changed this, but Larry Lyon made these changes over here on stuff. And again, just make sure to expand all those arrows so you can see in the individual changes that have been done. Because the beautiful thing about Google is Google Docs in particular is every time you're adding or editing stuff, you'll see up here at the top, it's saving right now. And that means it's saving a new version. So I'm going to put a period. And when I go back in and look at that in my version history, I could see today that, let's see where to go. Yeah, I just added that as a new version. So every time it's doing a save of my documents, it's actually creating a different version of it in the version history. So I could go back in time and recover from a certain point and delete stuff that I need to in order to keep this good to go. So AI tools, when kids are using AI tools, they're going to see a lot of text come over in a very short amount of time. Another tool I use besides version history to really help me figure that out or to see statistics on that is I have this little extension called Origin Writing Report. And I'm going to say, hey, view the report. And it's going to take me to a new tab. This is made by GPTZero. And it's actually going to give me a probability if this was created with AI tools or not. Is this always correct? No, but it's something I look at. And I'm just using the free version for this, but it tells me how many words are in here, how many edits, that means how many times did Google save while I was creating it, and how many copying and pastes were done on this. I think that is actually really important to see. And sometimes going in, if they're going to edit and revise in Quillbot, or if they're using Grammarly or some other kind of spell checker outside of Google Docs, then yes, that counts as a copy and paste back and forth. So again, it can't be all or not, you can't have very strict guidelines for that, but just be aware if I saw one copy and paste and but they wrote 5,000 words, that'd probably be in 2 minutes, that would probably be a red flag for me. It also will give you little badges, like this one exhibits some human typing patterns, because I did do some typing. But I like this little activity timeline because it's like you could see it date stamps it by hour on a day. So there's 24 hours per day, but it will tell me like, hey, this was done all at one time. And you can see the activity basically of that, and you can like now it's breaking it out in by minute or every few minutes. So if like 5,000, almost 5,000 words came over in one shot, that would probably be like I said, a red flag. There's also a writing process video that you could watch, which shows the evolution of the document. You can see all of that came over in one time, and now I went through and changed some stuff um, to make it kind of my own. Um, and then it has an AI scanner where this one, it only checked the first 5,000 characters of any text. So if any longer text, it's not going to do the whole thing unless you sign up for a paid version, which we are not going to do. But this one has a 76% probability of AI generation. And then it shows this little breakdown, like 24% was done by human and AI tool, where I personally would like to see that reversed for it to be acceptable. Now, like if I saw this in a student in my class for a writing assignment, I would definitely have a chat with that student about what did you do? Did you put an AI acknowledgement? Did I tell them ahead of time whether they were allowed to use AI for this writing assignment? So those are discussions I would have with that student. And again, I would use it as a learning experience for the student and probably make them rewrite the assignment and talk to Rama about this in our academic honesty policy. But it is a good way to look at a student's writing this report as well as revision history, and then just chatting with the student and asking them, hey, did you copy and paste this from the internet or from a AI tool? And 95% of the time, students are going to admit to it if they used it. So teachers, I think we just need to be a little more transparent when students are allowed to use AI tools and if they use them, including for editing and revising, they have to put in an AI acknowledgement. I'll do a video about that next. But yeah, just being more transparent, teachers and students, about making sure student writing is their actual own writing. But at the same time, a lot of text will come over at one time when students are using voice typing. So again, it can't be a like, hey, you did this. No, having the discussion saying, hey, did you use voice typing for this? Or did you use this? Did you copy paste anything from the internet? Like, there's things we could do. Another thing teachers could also do is in Google Classroom, we could actually, when we're adding assignments, I'm going to edit this assignment, we could actually turn where it says check for plagiarism and originality, make sure we're doing that whenever we do have writing assignments, because that puts that writing in kind of our internal school-wide data bank, and it will compare other students' writing to that to see if it's been flagged. And also check external sources for that. Now, it will not tag items created by AI, but it will help with the copy and pasting from the internet. So that's just one of my tips for really evaluating student writing for honesty and seeing kind of the evolution of student writing. If you have any questions, please let me know.